The man is on a 20-fight win streak. He's lost one fight in his entire career, but he's fighting a very dangerous short-notice opponent. Now, he was supposed to fight Max Holloway in this match. This is supposed to be Volkanovski versus Holloway 3. We're going to put this trilogy to bed. We're going to put this matchup to bed. However, Holloway had an injury, and then he could come back and fight, and then things got weird, and they're like, no, fuck all that. Korean Zombie, you're a time-tested veteran as well. You had to take about, a 2-3 year break to do your military service in South Korea. It stalled your career. You're back. Yeah, you lost a couple in your last 5, but at the end of the day, let's see what you got for a title shot. Now, before we jump into this, before we talk odds, before you talk any of that stuff, AJ, I want to ask you, the Korean Zombie, has he been discounted as of late because it's out of sight, out of mind, right? You get the big win against Dan Ige, but it wasn't the classic Korean Zombie style. It was takedown, win by points. His first decision win in a ridiculous amount of years, like over 10 years, right? Is that a case of that, or do you think that people are really just buying into the championship nature of Alexander Volkanovski, what he has proven as a professional? What do you think?
I mean, the thing is, Alexander Volkanovski is a very strong champion. I know we all give him a lot of heat for the up and downs with Max Holloway, whether those are actually won or whether they weren't. But at the same point, Alexander Volkanovski's been smashing people since day one, since he entered the octagon. So it's hard to discount him as far as that. But I do think people are just forgetting about Chan Sung Jung because he had that injury and then he had the layoff of the military career and then comes back and doesn't really get a finish and kind of starts getting, I think everybody always remembers the last second upward elbow by Rodriguez when the Zombie was winning that fight, man. Chan Sung Jung, that'll be one of those moments that always kind of reaps on the career of Chan Sung Jung. So I do think a lot of people are really sleeping on the Zombie. But at the same point, you can't discount the champ because he is really doing good work. And I know I give him a lot of heat for those Max Holloway fights, but he is very much a strong champion. And if you just go look at the dude's hit list, man, just his last 5, Chad Mendez, Jose Aldo, Max Holloway twice, and Brian Ortega, that's a killer's list, man. And he did pretty damn well, even though 4 of the 5 were all decisions. It's still an impressive hit list nonetheless.
No, I agree with you. I do agree with you. Now, the one question I have is regarding the Korean Zombie. He hasn't been very active since 2009, right? Since his 3-year military layoff between 2014 and 2016, the Korean Zombie has only fought more than once per year in 2019. So he had 2 fights that year, right? So yes, you're a chiseled veteran. You've been around in the game for a long time. And to be specific, his last decision win prior to the Dan Ige fight was in 2008. So that shows you how long of a finishing streak he had. He had like 9 finishes in a row. So my question is this a refreshed Korean Zombie? Like, this is a dude who you would think has like a stupid amount of miles on him. But if you think about it, he haven't been very active. You got a little rest recovery, right? You're not as like beat up as people would make it seem. So but what people are saying is that this is either Korean Zombie gets the knockout, and if they stand and slug it out, it's going to be all Korean Zombie. If it goes to the grappling, it's going to be Alexander Volkanovski. But I'm interested. We might see a mixture of both, man. Let's not forget the performance that Korean Zombie put on against Danny Ige, man. Takedown clinic. So do you think this is a refreshed Zombie? This is going to be a different version of the Korean Zombie that we know and love? Or do you think that we're going to revert back to the old times, walk forward, and just Zombie style like he did against Ortega?
I think we're going to see a little bit of both, but to be honest with you, I think it's going to be Zombie 5.0, man. I think Zombie's going to come back. Nonetheless, he's fighting out of fight camp. He switched it up, or fight ready. He's fighting out of there with Triple C, with Izzy, with Yuri, with all these people that have been training. He's been able to get some different looks. I was listening to Uncle Chael talk about it, where he was talking about the Zombie. I don't remember if it was a Zombie or not, but he was saying that rest is one of the most important things in MMA. More often than not, you only have, let's say you only play one NBA game, for each year. You only play one. You're not going to get better. You're not going to get better by playing it. But MMA is the one sport where you do get better. Your mentality gets better. Your mindset gets better with the less you fight. So I think that's where Zombie's going to come in a little bit more refreshed, a little bit on the ball. He's had, his last fight. When was his last fight? 2019?
Korean Zombie, his last fight was this year, right? It was Dan Ige. It was this year or late last year.
But still less miles on him, or less miles on the mind, because the Zombie's way of fighting, that's a very mental heavy. You know,
Yeah.
you're worried about this dude's brain. But the fact that he's able to be off and work with Triple C on the ground game, I think we're going to see something a little bit refreshed right here. What do you think?
I agree with the sentiment, but I also think that Alexander Volkanovski is no easy outing because he is a tactician in the highest sense, right? When I say that, think about being able to outpoint Max Holloway twice in a row, right? Even when Max Holloway knows all your tricks. Yes, some people say was the second one, did Holloway win it, da 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 da. But I'll tell you, Alexander Volkanovski had a knack in both of the fights of doing one thing very specifically, and that's saying I'm going to rack up my strikes, head, body, legs, to where at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to doubt me because I am going to be that volume fighter. I am going to hit you more than you are going to hit me. I'm going to take you down more than you're going to take me down. I'm going to control you when it counts. You might have a couple good shots. You might get me on the back foot from time to time, but I'm going to dictate where the fight goes. So I think that while the Korean Zombie can come up as this refreshed man, I think that our nature and our instincts ultimately take over in a fight. And we might see round one, a very patient Korean Zombie. Rounds two, patient. Rounds 3, 4, 5, when it really counts, we might start seeing zombie style, walk forward, let's get it. Now, AJ, when it comes down to the takedowns, how many takedown attempts is it going to take before Alexander Volkanovski notches one down where he can control the Korean Zombie on the ground?
I'm going two. I'm
Two?
going
Okay.
two. I think Zombie might stop the first one, but man, Volkanovski's just such a tactician at whatever he does, ground game, fist, whatever the case is. But he does have some amazing takedowns, and especially now, I think with Zombie going to fight ready. I think Volkanovski, wants to prove a point, wants to prove the fact that, hey, no matter where you go, I'm still going to be the best at doing X, Y, and Z. Now that you went to a wrestler, you think you're going to out wrestle me? Not a chance. I'm going to take you down right away. I'm guessing first shot comes within the first minute of the fight. Like I said, it might take another one to actually get him down. What do you think, Derek? Over under 2 shots, and does the first shot come in a minute?
The first shot does not come in a minute. I don't think that at all. I think yeah. I'll go two. I'll go two. I'll say it's gonna take two. So I'll take the under, right? I mean, does that count as the under 2.5? Maybe, right? You know what I'm saying? Either way, I think it'll take two before he's able to land one. So I guess the third one. So I guess I take it back. I don't know how we're doing this damn spread, but either way, three. You know, on the third one, I think it finally goes down because Chan Sung Jung, on Henry Cejudo, Olympic. Did you know he had an Olympic gold medal in wrestling? I don't know if you knew that one, AJ. Either way, you're training under the tutelage of that guy, man. You know he's gonna get you ready for the shots. You're not gonna be a sitting duck when it comes down to the grappling. So yeah, I think so. But this is the big key here, AJ. How does this fight won, right? Like I said, people are saying if Korean Zombie, if they stand and slug TKZ, he wins the fight. My question, why would Volkanovski, in what world does he say, let me just stand and slug with this dude? Like, he's like, I want to defend my championship. He's very tactile in that way. Or, he just has good tact, right? I don't see that happening. When it comes down to the well-rounded nature of the game, I think that's when it's going to play. And Alexander Volkanovski, even though Chan Sung Jung has said he feels like he's better in all aspects of MMA, I think Volkanovski has very certain strengths when it comes to that top control, when it comes to movement, being evasive, all that. Now, my final question to you before we give our pick on this one, AJ. Chan Sung Jung by points is 11 plus 1100 on betonline.ag. So if I were to just try to throw in a little something on there, it won't even let me show. I have to log in and do all that. But the point is, plus 1100, man. You bet $100, you get 1100. You bet $100, you get $1100 back. Is this a possibility? Or are we so far gone that we're just buying into the hype saying he can only win by knockout? This is a dude who's been doing it for a long time. What do you think?
It's hard because I don't think he has the style to be winning point fights. You know what I'm saying? Even like you said, no matter what, no matter how much training you do, your instincts take over, adrenaline takes over, and you start doing kind of what you like in a fight, man. And then Zombie, he is a walk forward, take five to land a big one and knock you out. Now, I think that's probably his best way of winning. I was going to ask you, my big question to you is what kind of how much stock do you put into the saying or the thought breakdown that Chan Sung Jung, he might lose every single round, but he could possibly win the fight, and then by that I mean he might get beat up every single round, rounds 1, rounds 2, rounds 3, just getting pummeled, just getting walked down. Even if he's doing the walking down, just getting pummeled on, beat up, but he's able to land that one big shot. Because I think that's the only way that he's going to be able to actually beat Volkanovski is separate him from consciousness. Because we saw it in the Ortega fight. If this dude's still able to conceptualize and breathe and think, he's going to be able to get out. He's going to be able to squirm out. He's going to be able to keep his mindset right. But if you just land one on him where you absolutely separate him from consciousness, that's the only way of beating Volkanovski. What do you think? Because I do think Volkanovski is the better fighter. But Chan Sung Jung, he has that X factor where he can come in and something might happen. What do you think?
Brother, I will just say it simple as plain as this. Anything can happen in a fist fight. Anything can happen in a fist fight. Anyone can have a puncher's chance, but does the puncher's chance always win? No. How often do they win? If you had to put it on a percentage basis, it's probably a very minuscule percentage when it comes down to it, right? I think that the better fighter is going to win this fight. It's 5 rounds after all. Yes, if Volkanovski gets caught, he gets caught, but this man has indomitable will, and we've seen that on display in these couple of different title defenses. I don't want to hype him up too much, but he is 10-0 in the UFC. Like I said, he's on a 20-fight win streak. What more is there to be said on this? I think Volkanovski gets the job done, and I think he gets the job done via unanimous decision, 5 rounds. Volkanovski by points is going to cash in at -150. So AJ, I don't know if you know this, but the odds that we have up currently -490 with the +370 comeback, those are the opening odds. The actual live odds right now, it's a little closer to -700 for Volk, +500 for the Korean Zombie. So at that -150, right? If I were to put in $20, I'm going to get back 220 on Alexander Volkanovski. I think that's an easy bet. I think that's like the easiest bet that you can make right now. Who is your pick? Why? How's it getting done?
Yeah, I'm with you too. I think Volkanovski's the better fighter just everywhere it could possibly go. Unless we see that X Factor land with a bomb from the Korean Zombie, I think that's the only route. I'm going Volkanovski by decision. I think it's a smart money, especially like you said, man. $20 gets you 220. It ain't the worst comeback, especially for the champ that's already holding the gold.
Exactly. So, folks, the over and under is 4.5 rounds. We're both taking the over on that one. And that is our long spiel for the main event.